And with Destroy Malevolence, we made 3. Yes, I describe it as a trilogy within the Clone Wars series right off the bat, beginning with their 2nd episode. But anyway, of course, the Malevolence, the terrible super weapon with the Zion cannon knocking out the power systems of the Republic fleet and then just picking them off, unable to defend themselves, really dying terrible deaths, being dropped out in space and everything. And Anakin managed to come in and dealt a huge blow to it, and Grievous is forced to retreat. Now he's on his way out. He's trying to get out of there. Their hyperdrive engines go off, and they're being picked off by the fleet now arrived with Obi-Wan, and they're shooting at it and everything. And it looks pretty good for the Republic. They got him on the run. And then Dooku says, "Well, I'm sending you a hostage." And so, what? All of a sudden, a ship from Naboo shows up. Gee, I wonder who it could be. Yes, it's Padme. And of course, Anakin's like, oh no. Of course, got to keep it secret. The marriage is not allowed because of the Jedi Order. And come on, it's so blatantly obvious. Obi-Wan standing there, it's like, oh boy. If they're not married, they're certainly, living in sin. and all that stuff. But so of course, Padme realizes she's been lured into this trap, and she communicates with the Republic fleet and tells them, don't stop firing, don't, take the advantage and destroy the Malevolence and all that. Well, of course, Anakin can't do that, so he orders him to stop, and then he mounts a rescue mission. So he and Obi-Wan, they head over there, and they manage to get in, and basically what you got is, and the previous video I did for the other episode, the Shadow of Malevolence, I said, hey, Solo seems to have stolen the whole idea of going through the Castle Run there. Well, I mean, obviously the Castle Run's from the original trilogy, but mentioned and whatnot. But here, the idea of going through this, nebula, and then there's all of these monstrous creatures living in it, and that's the danger. It seems they stole that top to bottom. And here, it looks like this episode is actually pretty much repeating the adventure from Attack of the Clones with Anakin and Padme in the droid factory. Whereas here, apparently the Malevolence, because it's so huge, it has a train system running around in there. And so they're being pursued by droids. They have to leap and jump all over the place. And of course, C-3PO is in all kinds of trouble. It's typical of C-3PO. And, but he doesn't lose his head. So there is that. He doesn't really get too badly damaged, and, doesn't really cause much trouble. He doesn't accidentally bump into anything and make it all happen. He does, end up like Wile E. Coyote and flattened on the front of one of the trains and all that sort of thing. But that's pretty much what you got here. It's one of these, obstacle courses they have to go through, when the mission itself, it seems pretty simple. Just get Padme and get out. Well, no, it's not that easy. So there's all that stuff. And then there's a fight between Grievous and Obi-Wan. And this is one of those things about it, where you have the main villain, well, maybe not the main villain, but the ultimate, conclusive battle between them happens in Revenge of the Sith. So you gotta weave a way around this. And so it stands to reason that Obi-Wan and Grievous had encountered one another before. And who's to say they didn't do it multiple times? So I'm assuming, they will encounter each other quite a bit throughout this, series. Whereas, Anakin, it appeared that was their first meeting, was in Revenge of the Sith, and Grievous said, I thought you would look older. And then Anakin said, you're shorter than I thought. And that kind of thing. So just by a matter of circumstance, they didn't actually come face to face in this, but rather Obi-Wan and Grievous do. And, they have their little fight. And also introduces the idea Obi-Wan is going to put it to once again, stop the hyperdrive from, being brought back online. And, well, it's a trap. it's a trap. And he's surrounded by droids and all this sort of stuff. And Grievous shows up and does the line, hello there. So, see, it was Grievous who came up with that first. And when Obi-Wan does it again, and he's sort of mocking Grievous. And so it does sort of work. It works better than most people who try to do, prequel type storylines within franchises like Star Trek. And this fits in and works well. And so you get all that cool stuff. A lot of good fights here and there. Still the weakest part are the droids. Yeah, well, what are you going to do? It's the way it is. But Padme gets the drop on Grievous. She sets her ship to self-destruct, and thereby luring Grievous into it. Almost kills him, but he figures it out. Of course, the Beavis and Butthead droids can't figure this out. And, well, there they go. But what does Grievous kill? What does he care? Because he kills them all the time himself, even though the Dooku says, hey, look, they're expensive. But anyway, with the battle with Obi-Wan and Grievous there where he gets trapped, but he makes short work of them, it's an interesting thing because he actually utilizes the force field droids to his advantage, and it's very clever. And it's the kind of thing, and I wish I could have seen in the movies, but he does it very well, and he's using them all as weapons for himself. And so the advantage would seem to be theirs in numbers, but they can't get to it because he just uses one of them as the shield and then throws it at him with the force and everything. So, yeah, Obi-Wan is quite the force to be reckoned with, if you don't mind the pun. So, all good stuff there, too. And but basically, it only delayed the inevitable. The end for the Malevolence was coming. And here, it's probably even a more humiliating manner. So Anakin's successful in retrieving Padme, and they're able to escape, and they leave. And so Grievous decides he'll get in his fighter, and they'll pursue them because he wants the hostage, for overall, but also to try to save the Malevolence and the weapon and all that sort of stuff. And they chase after him, and there's a dogfight and whatnot. But meanwhile, they sabotaged the ship, and so they're saying, let's go. They fixed it to where if they try to activate the hyperdrive, the navigational computer will guide them into a nearby moon, which is exactly what happens. And of course, one of their great weaknesses, the dumb droids are too stupid and ridiculous to figure out what to do in time, and so the Malevolence just smashes itself into the side of the moon. And Grievous is like, crap. So he just hits the pedal to the metal and gets out of there. So he's got to go explain to Dooku about this, too. It's a good thing Dooku doesn't have his habit of just killing everybody who lets him down, So there you go. That's the the wrap-up of the Malevolence trilogy. But anyway, good stuff here and there. And, elements of the Anakin and Padme relationship and all that, which you already know, but, it's a bit more expanded upon with, stories like this. And little nuggets of lessons for Ahsoka to witness all this and what have you. So, there you go. Destroy Malevolence. And, well, they did. Thank you for watching and listening. Say, why not like and subscribe? Yeah, you're here. Might as well. And check out that link description below. That'll take you to my many stores that have plenty of goodies for you. And head over to IndiePlanet.com, where you can get your hands on a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. And, of course, you can hear my podcast over at RadioMisfits.com. New episodes every Saturday, the Mr Nailsin Show, that is. And you can also watch my videos over at BitChute, on BitChute.com.